Yeah. The fanatic. Where we keep it 100, keep it real. That's the only way we know how to be. Talking that sports talk. You know what I'm saying? Straight out of South Carolina. Upstate, A64. Yeah. The FANATTIC. The fanatic where we keep it OG. We talking sports, so I call what
Next bowl game we're doing tonight is going to be the other college football playoff game. And that game is going to be Michigan versus TCU. Give me your initial thoughts on this game, Stat Guy.
Man, you're talking about teams that are definitely in different directions mentally, right? You're talking about a Michigan team coming off a huge win over their rival, then looking at what they did in the Big Ten championship for the second year in a row, going up against a TCU team that had a Cinderella undefeated season all wrapped up, and they just forgot to put the bow on top. But, man, it's hard to beat a team twice. And Kansas State played them tough both times and was able to escape for the victory. So can they wash that one off and get back to doing what they've done all year long?
I'm going to tell you something TCU got going for them. It's that thing that Nick Saban and Kirby Smart talk about all the time. Rat poison. Listen, literally nobody in the media is giving TCU any kind of shot here. I'm like, TCU did win 12 games, people. And I would say, Michigan didn't fare well against Illinois. Now Illinois has a better defense than TCU, but they don't have it. They don't have a third of the offense TCU has. Purdue was able to move the ball early in the season. Maryland, gave them a couple of rounds. I think TCU has enough offense to score some points on Michigan. What is the point? But we're going to do this. Of course, we're going to do predictions later. But what's the point spread and the over-under in this one?
So I'm actually really shocked by this. So Michigan is favored by 7.5. The over-under for this game is 58.5. I was definitely thinking it was going to be a lot higher, but 58.5 for the over-under is what it came in at.
58.5. Okay. Yeah, I can see that though. I can see that because Michigan can play a little ugly ball if they need to. They kind of like Georgia in that way. They can play a little ugly if they need to, but as they showed against Ohio State, they can run off. But TCU's going to play. If the higher the score, I think the better for TCU. That means that both teams are moving the ball, and then I think they would like their chances if they got the ball last trying to score. If they're able to move the ball all game on Michigan, then TCU, stands a real good shot. Now they're not able to move the ball. Once Michigan lock in, I don't know. I don't know if they're gonna, be able to move the ball later. So tell me who off the rip. So Donovan Edwards is 100%, but Blake Corum, I don't know what's going. I don't know. I don't think he's gonna be playing in this game. But TCU has some good running backs too. Which run game you like better?
With Blake. I'm going based off of Blake Corum not playing. I think he's done. I actually like TCU's run game a little better on the consensus that I'm including their quick hit stuff to the outside, a lot of their wide receiver screens. They run a lot of weird stuff that, we consider part of it, just like carry-ons to the run game, a lot of the quick hitting stuff to the outside. And so I really like TCU and their up-tempo offense a little bit better in that aspect as far as the run game and the short stuff.
Yeah, both quarterbacks are very heavily involved in the run game. I think they're both really good. I think Michigan wants to run. TCU doesn't necessarily want to run. They just want to move the ball, whatever that means, passing it or running it. So I think, let me take that back. I think Michigan needs to run the ball. I know they hit Ohio State deep for a lot of shots, but their MO is to, be physical with you in the trenches and run the ball at some point in time. I know it was only on a couple of runs, but Donovan Edwards still ran for a billion yards on Ohio State. I think they want to get in the game and run. I think if they can't run, it's one thing if you don't choose to run, but if they can't run against TCU, that'll be a problem. What is TCU offense averaging, and then tell me what Michigan's defense is giving up?
Yeah, so with TCU's offense, you're looking at 40 points a game. They go for 200 on the ground, 273 through the air, so 473 for the game. Very balanced attack with high-octane offense. And then on that other side, going up against that Michigan defense, You're looking at defense that only gives up 13 points a game, and then 85 on the ground and 141 through the air. So Michigan doesn't give up a whole lot, and that could be a big thing. That Michigan run defense versus this TCU Russian attack, because it's a little bit different of a Russian attack. It's not right at you like a lot of the teams in the Big Ten like to do. The Illinois and the Wisconsins of the world, they hit you on the outside with options and misdirection, stuff like that. So I'm very interested to see if Michigan has the speed to get outside and slow the Russian attack down.
Yeah, I'm interested to see if TCU depth wise with the roster can keep up with Michigan. Duggins did everything he could to win that Big 12 championship, and you just could tell on that last drive he was absolutely gassed. And it wasn't just him; it was a lot of the other players. They have, like I said, they have great, starting 11 on both sides, but Michigan may be a little bit deeper than TCU, so I think that may come into play if this game ends up being, down to the wire type game. Michigan's defense, like you say, they're pretty nasty down there, man. So I'm interested to see how this is going to play out. I'm interested to see the wide receiver with Quentin Johnson for TCU, if he can get loose in that secondary. And I'm interested to see if Blake Corum doesn't play, can Donovan Edwards do it all game? I know the quarterback is in the game as well, McCarthy, JJ, and but it's different when you're playing. Now Michigan has been here. Now, I know people say they didn't have a great showing last year, but it's still experience. Hey, it's like my man said on Infinity War. It's like if you call it bad experience, it's still experience, baby. You know what I'm saying? And TCU hasn't been here, and maybe the lights be too bright for them. You think that's going to play a part in it?
No, I don't, man. I think with the Sonny Dykes style offense, TCU is kind of this rare breed of, they're one of those teams, they are who they are. And so I think they're going to come out and give you their shot. The key for TCU is not getting down early. I think if they get down and they have to exude that extra effort, and Max has to bring them back. I mean, that's why it felt like he put them on the back and single-handedly tried to carry them to that Big 12 championship and just ran out of steam towards the end. They just need a complete offensive effort and try to be firing on all cylinders like they had been for the most part of the season. But I really do. I like this TCU attack. Their offense is just fun to watch. It might be one of the best offenses in the country to watch just because it's not just one-dimensional. They can beat you in so many different facets. They can go deep. They can hit you on quick stuff and make people miss. They can blow some stuff up in the run game. I mean, it just feels like everywhere they're making plays.
Yeah, and according to the AP rankings, TCU actually had more, ranked wins than Michigan, if that counts for anything. Coaching-wise, who you going with on the coaching carousel? I mean, Jim Harbaugh's been there a while. Sonny Dykes has a lot of experience, but this is his first year at TCU. So who would you get an edge to coaching-wise?
Coaching-wise, I'd probably go with Harbaugh just because, like you said, man, it might be some bad experience. He probably has a bad taste in his mouth after what them dogs did to them last year. But, hey, he got there. He knows what it's like, knows what maybe after that game, I wish I would have said this pregame instead of that. You kind of got those things going through your head all year where he's going to be a little bit better prepared. But, sometimes coming into that thing fresh, a lot of people aren't talking about TCU. Sonny Dykes can just walk into that locker room and say, us versus the world, baby, let's go. So, but I think just head up with the coaching. I definitely think I give a slight nod, not a huge advantage, but a slight nod to Harbaugh.
Yeah, I think I'm going to go with you on that. I think I'm going to give Harbaugh in this particular situation because, like I said, Sonny Dykes has been a good coach. His career and especially this year at TCU, I think he actually won Coach of the Year. In the nation, but Jim Harbaugh's been here again. It doesn't matter. I know, like I said, I know they got beat, but he's been here. He knows what to expect. He knows that it's do or die. Not that TCU doesn't know it, but it's kind of like when I said, when we did that Tennessee-Georgia preview, Tennessee came into the game, number one. They hadn't been number one. Georgia had. It's like sometimes that can be overwhelming for a 17 well, not 17, 18 to 22-year-olds. So I think that may play a factor in the game. Go ahead and give me a score prediction. Go over those over, under, and the point spread one more time, and we'll get our predictions in.
Yeah, so Michigan is favored by 7.5, and the over under for this game is going to be 58.5. I will say that I think TCU, you never want to lose, but I think TCU will be glad to lose when they did, and kind of now they can just wipe the slate clean and regroup and get ready to head into these playoffs. I think this is going to be one of the best games in the playoffs. I think this is going to turn into an offensive game early. The defense is going to settle in, and then I think we're going to see some offensive explosion late. So give me TCU to win this game 40-38.
You stole my thunder. I'm actually taking TCU for the win as well. I think both teams, like you said, will be able to score. I don't think I have it 40-38. I'm more in the 34-31 range. TCU with the late field goal after it's tied for over half a quarter. I think TCU is going to shock the world. I think one of the best things as far as trying to win this particular game that happened to TCU, like you said, was TCU actually losing the Big 12 championship. So we definitely agree there. So there it is, Michigan and TCU fans. Y'all get in the comments. Let us know what y'all think the score is going to be and what the keys to the game will be and how you feeling going into this game.
We got it jumping like it's that valley. I call my dogs out the pound. Let's go eat. Turn on the fan at it. Let's have a debate. Who really hold down the Southeast from state to state? What team hungry gonna eat everything up off they plate?